G'day viewers, welcome to PB's Retro Restorations, and welcome to the very first Diecast International Builders video. The theme of this build is surf wagons. Now I picked this theme, so I'd better do a good job of it. Now I'll put links to the other team members' builds in the description so you can check all them out too. I'm really looking forward to seeing what everyone else came up with. It should be fun. Now I'm starting with this Chevy Nova van. It's got the X-Men, which is a cartoon I suppose. It's got, I don't know what their names are. Two guys on one side, glowing face lady on the other side. It doesn't really matter because we'll be sitting in the bottom of a pool of paint stripper in a minute. So let's get started. So here I am taking off the paint like I normally do with the wire wheel on the Dremel. Now I watched Andrew at Maple Leaf Matchbox Makeovers use a 3M, like a Scotch-Brite type pad for his Dremel, and the local hardware store got some, so I'll give this a go and have a look at the finish. Have a look at the difference this pad makes. It's awesome. The only problem I've got with it is coming up with a replacement sound effect for it, so I'm still developing that. I'll let you know how I get on, okay? So I'm using my old aluminium ruler to draw some lines where I want the roof racks to go, because it's a surf wagon and we need roof racks for the surfboards obviously. I since bought myself a pair of digital calipers that Aldi had on sale for 19 bucks, so I'm sure I'll be using them in another project soon. Just marking where I want the pinholes to go and then we'll move on. Using the centre punch here just to give myself a divot to drill the bits in. We don't want it skimming all over the roof, do we? Now I kept waiting for this drill bit to snap. I know it's far too tiny for this size drill. So I went gingerly and I got through it without breaking it, which was a first for me. That was good. Now I'm using these high-end paper clips for the roof racks. I drilled the holes so they'd fit and I just hammered them about. Test fitted them. Made that one a bit too wide, but that's okay. I just trimmed them up and I made a couple of pairs of them. I'm going to stop the sound effects for a minute. I sprayed it all white first and then I masked it off and did my two-tone paint. Now I did this twice. I had some Rattle Pack Rust-Oleum lying around. I didn't know if it was too cold, but it just globbed out all over it and ruined it, so I had to strip it again and I had another go. That's okay. Happens to all of us, doesn't it? So here I am laying down the colour. It was a blessing in disguise really, because I was using a pale blue and then when I did it the second time I found a light, to me a green, that worked a lot better for me. It looked much nicer. So with that done, I'm going to start some weathering on it now. I've got to give a shout out to my mate Alicia for this tip. Bit of oil paint, black. Get it on the finger of my glove and just rub it in. It starts out black, but as you wipe it over and wear it along, it starts going a paler brown. It starts to look like a bit of, like dirt running along it. And I just use my finger until it looks right. If it doesn't look right, you just wipe it some more and wipe it off. Now here I'm scraping away some of the paint with a knife, since all the places I think rust would probably form in these cars, all along the back for the next step. Now here I'm using some Vallejo engine oil fuel effect. It didn't really work, it was probably a bit too fine for a model of this scale. Now I'm using some of their rust paint. Now I paint some of this on to the little areas that I scraped off. And then what I do is, if you want rust effects, best thing to use is rust. So I have a little jar that I made. It's basically steel wool, some of the finer grade stuff with some vinegar mixed in, and it corrodes pretty quickly. And anyway, I've kept that little jar for ages, and I literally shake some of it out onto the table and just sprinkle it on there. The paint dries and holds it on there and holds it together, so it's not just looking like rust, it really is rust. I've used it to great effect on some of my 125th models, so I thought I'd try it on a smaller scale. It seemed to go okay. Here I'm just painting some more rust paint on, sprinkle a little bit on, and then I'll just rub it in. Now I put some glue in underneath, and I'm just sticking those roof rack rods on. I did have to drill the interior glass to make the rear one fit, and it still didn't quite fit at the end. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I was all set to put a set of steelies on the other base. I got another car, the Cosmo Mazda, and I'd pulled it apart for the wheels. And then Hot Wheels brings out a new one, which I actually managed to find at my local shopping centre, that had the steel wheels. So I haven't done a wheel swap, I've done a base swap. And I dull coat cleared the base, so it would give the rust paint a bit more purchase on the plastic wheels and hold it all together. And here I am doing the taillights. Now some good old Tamiya panel line wash for the grille. You've got to do this a few times, otherwise some of the holes get more paint than the others, as you can see there. You just keep going over it and over it until it evens out. And of course, being a surf wagon, it needs surfboards on top. These actually come from a Hot Wheels Diora, a tuned Diora that came out about 15-20 years ago that happened to have line around. They're just the right size, and I didn't weather the surfboards because any self-respecting surfy have those surfboards perfect, bugger the wagon. As long as the boards are right, we're right. Speaking of right, we're done. Here we are back at the start with our Chevy Nova X-Men panel van with old laser eyes on the side. Really is a waste of a casting, this Tampo. It's does nothing for me. It obviously does nothing for anybody because my local toy shop cannot give this casting away. Anyway, but that's what we're here to do, improve them and make them better. It's got awful wheels too. But anyway, it's about seeing what it can be, not what it is. And speaking of what it is, not what it was and what it is now, here it is. Not looking $1 million, looking like it's barely being kept together. As long as it can get down to the breakers, down at Kirra or Coolangatta. That's some places in Queensland and Australia, everybody who's not familiar with them. It's ready to have a bodacious time on some gnarly curls. Yo, you can see I'm not a surfer, but anyway. I'm not sure why I came up with this idea, just having said that, but here we are. So don't forget Jay at Jay's Diecast Creations Free the Ferraris build on June 21. And don't forget our next Dibs build off on July 15th. Hope you can join us for those. It's going to be a lot of fun. So please don't forget to check out everyone else's builds. I'm sure they've all done fantastic work. If you'd like to see some of my other videos, click on these links. If you think you'd like to subscribe, I'd love to have you on board. You never know what you're going to get. If all you got to do is click on my bald head and wait for the magic to happen. I'm sure it's going to start soon. I'll see you Friday for my regular video. Bye!